Tonight on DC News Now, Charlie Kirk funeral. The nation's top Republican leaders gathering with tens of thousands of supporters to say their final goodbyes to the right-wing activist. A hiker rescued just where first responders swooped in to save a man from a medical emergency in Maryland. Wins on and off the field. Live with how the Commanders top the Raiders without their star quarterback, Jayden Daniels. Plus, their recent work to ensure young fans don't go hungry.
And another day of some cool temperatures across the area, certainly below normal. We'll talk about when we'll see some above normal readings here in the DMV. That's coming up.
Fall season savings. How to avoid steep repair costs and prepare for the busiest shopping period of the year. We're stretching your dollar.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Good Sunday evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for DC News Now. I'm Ben Dennis. Happening right now, friends, loved ones, and fans of conservative activist Charlie Kirk are eulogizing the late 31-year-old in Arizona. President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Kirk's widow Erica are speaking at Kirk's funeral, which is being held at the stadium home of the Arizona Cardinals in Glendale. Those high-profile appearances come after several events honoring Kirk were held by government officials since his assassination this month. The shooting also has set off a new fierce debate about violence and free speech in the country. Back here at home, the federal takeover of D.C. police is over, but President Trump has kept thousands of National Guard troops in the district. The Joint Task Force releasing the latest numbers showing just under 2,600 Guard members are in the district, nearly 1,000 from the D.C. Guard. Nearly 1,400 are from 8 other states. The task force says their current mission is beautification, and that includes projects at Haynes Point and at Rock Creek Park. They say they've cleared 1,000 bags of trash, spread 1,000 cubic yards of mulch, and painted 270 feet of fencing. Oh, we have some breaking news tonight. There has been an emergency water shutoff in southeast D.C. because of a water main break. An 8-inch break. This is happening on Fitch Street between 51st and 53rd for 6 to 8 hours. 18 apartment buildings and 3 hydrants are currently being affected by this. We'll stay on top of that. Stay on top of your forecast. Meteorologist Scott Sumner here. We talked extensively about it yesterday, but we are creeping into the higher chances of rain coming this week, Scott.
Yeah, that really hasn't changed since we spoke last night here, Ben. And as far as our current temperatures, they are where they were yesterday, maybe even a degree or two cooler. We're sitting at 72 degrees and overcast skies. And remember, last night we were talking about partly cloudy conditions. And temperatures over the next 12 hours, as you can see here, will continue to dip through the 70s and into the upper 60s around the mid-evening period, eventually bottoming out around the lower 60s, if not at 60 itself here around 7 o'clock in the morning. Again, that's just the next 12 hours, but looking beyond that throughout the week here, temperature-wise, we're going to see a little bit of a roller coaster ride. The average high temperature should be between 79 and 77 degrees, and we'll see warmer temperatures here from Monday through Thursday down to where we should be for this time at the end of the week. So a little bit of an up and down roller coaster ride there. And in the short term here, planning your evening, again, partly cloudy, and partly cloudy for parts of the viewing area with temperatures holding into the 60s. Ben?
All right, Scott, thanks. New tonight, we've learned that a man and 2 women were stabbed. They're recovering right now after several incidents overnight in southeast D.C. Police say the first stabbing happened around 8:45 on L Street. A woman had multiple stab wounds in her upper body, we're told. And hours later, around 1:25 this morning, officers say the man was cut on the left side of his neck and right hand on the bomb street after a fight broke out and as he tried to end the argument. Finally, another woman was found stabbed around 4 in the morning on 32nd Place. Everybody was sent to the hospital to be treated. No word on any suspects. Meantime, one man was found dead inside an apartment in Montgomery County this morning. Police say they found him around 7:45 on Montrose Road. The circumstances surrounding his death remain unclear, but they are investigating this as a homicide. No word on the victim's name. In Maryland, one of your top stories, a helicopter rescue crew hoisted a hiker to safety in Washington County, and after an apparent medical emergency on top of that cliff overlooking Harper's Ferry. It's a popular tourist destination. Officials say this happened around 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Check out that video. Helicopter flew the hiker to Meritus Medical Center in Hagerstown. Hiker's condition has not been released. And in the district, some community activists are raising concerns tonight about zoning. They believe it all threatens the historic charm of Georgetown. As our Stephen Cohen reports, neighbors are banding together for reform.
During COVID, some zoning regulations here in the Georgetown neighborhood were relaxed. Some residents here, though, think it's time for a reset. To navigate the pandemic, emergency permitting was put in place to expand sidewalks. Elizabeth Miller is a leader of a citizens coalition to give local residents a voice on revisiting that permitting.
The widened sidewalks and street areas were put up in sort of a haphazard slapdash way. It's now been 5 years.
Coalition leader Stephanie Scott wants the D.C. Department of Transportation to make navigating the neighborhood manageable.
I feel strongly that we can have micromobility and accessible sidewalks, but DDOT is not doing their job.
The lack of government action has inspired citizen action to curtail loosely regulated scooters and haphazard street rezoning.
We want to really look at this and make sure that whatever is there fits into historic Georgetown.
Stephanie Scott is especially concerned because Wisconsin Avenues and M Street in the heart of the city are emergency evacuation routes.
You know, we really care about accessibility. This is about maintaining Georgetown's historic charm. It is a major destination for tourism. It's an economic hub, and the Georgetown historical charm really matters. It's what attracts people to Georgetown.
And the Georgetown Coalition for Public Spaces is hopeful that the district and federal government will make infrastructure investment and impose strict code enforcement. Reporting from Georgetown in the district, Stephen Cohen, DC News Now.
All right, thanks to Stephen. DC News Now is your local election headquarters, and in Virginia, voters are already starting to cast their ballots ahead of the general election. There's some big races in the Commonwealth: governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and for the House of Delegates. You can cast an in-person ballot at 3 polling sites in Fairfax County, and as well, for example, 1 each in Arlington and Loudoun counties. Election officials will open up more sites toward the end of early voting, which goes until November the 1st. General election is November the 4th. You have a chance to hear from the 2 gubernatorial candidates in their very first debate right here on DC News Now. Democrat and former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger goes head-to-head with current Lieutenant Governor Republican Winsome Earl Sears. They take the stage Thursday, October the 9th at 7 p.m. This debate is hosted by our partners at Wavy, our sister station, and by Norfolk State University. Happening right now, a surprise concert announced just late this afternoon. The Foo Fighters will be playing at Black Cat on 14th Street. The rock band announced on Instagram that they're taking the stage, and within minutes, fans started lining up outside the venue on 14th Street to try and land those tickets. Foo Fighters frontman and former drummer for Nirvana, Dave Grohl, grew up in Springfield, Virginia, and has lauded DC's punk rock scene as a child and famed 930 Club. Tickets cost $30 tonight, according to the band online, and are limited to 2 tickets per person. No word when the first song will be played. Pretty cool stuff there. Well, the Washington Commanders were back at home this afternoon, hosting the Las Vegas Raiders at Northwest Stadium in Landover. DC News Now's Alex Flum and Jake Robb were able to catch the game. Guys, a lot of questions surrounding if Jaden Daniels was going to start. We knew late this past week he was not, but bring us up to speed how Mariota played.
Yeah, Ben, the big thing was no Jaden, no problem. This Commanders team showed up to play today despite injuries, despite the fact they had a really bad loss at Green Bay last week, and it was a happy day here at Northwest Stadium for Washington fans.
Yeah, I feel like the theme was the team rallying behind the fact that their star quarterback was not playing, the team rallying behind the fact that there was a little fall from head coach Dan Quinn on the sideline in the first half that rallied this team as well. We're going to hear from the team later on in sports about this big win at home against the Raiders.
All right, guys, we're looking forward to that coming up at game night. Speaking of the Commanders, well, the team put together their imprint on the community, at least yet again. giving back to local school districts and making sure families in need have enough to eat during the holidays. Our Dave Laval shows us how the team is looking after some of their youngest fans.
Grocery shopping for Chris Moore. The Washington Commanders wide receiver has help from his teammates.
I'm on my fifth. That's nah.
Chris Rodriguez and Jalen Lane make it more like a race as they pack food. Not for them, but for students at Alexandria's Mount Vernon Community School under the Blessings in a Backpack program. It fills the gap for children who get free meals at the school during the week.
When they leave school on Friday afternoon until they come back on Monday morning, which is 65 very long hours for these children, they do not know where their next meal is coming from.
Educators say that harms students' education.
It impacts their ability to pay attention, to be responsive in class, and also just their general feeling of well-being and safety.
Blessings in a Backpack feeds 120 students at this school every week. It's one of 18 programs set up around the DMV, helping more than 1,300 children. The Commanders say they're glad to help.
I feel like when you're blessed with the opportunity and the position we have, that you just want to help out to the community as much as you can.
The Commanders do that by making sure some of their youngest fans don't go home hungry. In Alexandria, Virginia, Dave Laval, DC News Now.
Good work indeed, guys. Coming up on DC News Now, we're helping you stretch your dollar with how to stay ahead of those important fall chores and avoid any surprise costs. Nobody wants that. Plus, crikey, an alligator spotted in the district. Hear from the man who wrangled the reptile from the wharf. Scaly story there. Time now 6:11. Taking a live look over the U.S. Capitol. Looking mighty fine, D.C. Happy Sunday, everyone. How are we going to spend our week ahead? As far as your forecast is concerned, Scott's coming back after the break.